Man discovers hole in his roof, then starts digging and found this.
But before we start, please make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell and smash that like button. We really appreciate your continuous support.
We all love the idea of finding hidden treasures inside of our homes. Imagine just stumbling across a secret passageway or underground lair inside your own house. Well, for one man, this exciting dream actually came true in a way no one had expected. This man found something extremely unusual in his home, which led to the discovery of a decades-long secret that no one had expected. Keep watching to find out the truth of just what this homeowner discovered within his own walls. It all began when YouTube user Cyrex686 noticed some strange markings on the wall of his home. He racked his brain for what they might be a sign of and asked his friends and neighbors within the building, but no one had any idea either. Now, many people might just decide to put this out of their mind and get on with their day, but Cyrex686 couldn't shake the idea that there was something more behind this mystery, and he decided to dig a little deeper. But he had no idea the incredible discovery that was to come. One particular thing that stood out about these strange markings was that they all appeared to be round in shape. The circular shape suggested to Cyrex686 that these marks were all designed in the same way and for the same purpose. But just what could that purpose be? Upon looking a little closer, Cyrex686 observed that two of the holes were quite small, but one was much larger, perhaps even large enough to fit a person. Did he dare delve into, literally, this mystery even further? Cyrex686 was incredibly curious as to what might be the answer behind those mysterious round markings on his wall, and especially as one of them looked big enough for him to climb into. Did he dare take the leap? Cyrex686 decided to undertake the challenge and also to share it with the world, and post the video of his exploration onto his YouTube channel. He had no idea that his discovery was about to go viral and hit headlines around the world. Cyrex686 was entranced by the idea of what could possibly be hidden behind these strange markings on his walls. After looking around the rest of the house and racking his brains about what the strange and mysterious marks could possibly be a sign of, he was just simply out of ideas to what it could be. So he decided to plunge, finally, into the holes themselves and upload the video of his discoveries with his YouTube followers. It was time to finally plunge into the mystery that had been plaguing his thoughts for so long. As with any unknown or mysterious task, it's better to start small and see how you go. And that's exactly the approach that Cyrex686 took for this challenge. Armed with his trusty tools and powerful drill, he started investigating just what might be hidden behind these strange round holes. But first things first, initially he focused on one of the smaller holes and started drilling in to find out what might be hiding there. He had no idea the secrets within that he was about to discover. As Cyrex686 began to drill into one of these smaller holes, he was surprised by how quickly he discovered what was inside. It was clear that these mysterious marks were definitely holes, and they'd been filled with something. While the rest of the walls were made with concrete, these mysterious holes seemed to have been filled with wood. Cyrex686 tapped on the wooden filling, and something immediately became clear to him. These plugged-up holes were hollow, meaning there was something hidden on the other side of these walls. Sometimes when you're tackling a challenge that's huge and potentially momentous, you can't pull it all off on your own. You need backup, which is exactly what Cyrex686 decided to go and get, before delving any further into this increasingly deepening mystery. He went and fetched one of his most trusted and dependable friends and asked him to come have a look. The friend was equally flummoxed by what on earth might lay behind these mysterious holes. Together, they went to have a closer look. Eventually, Cyrex686 and his pal were able to loosen one of the wooden plugs filling the small hole. They peered carefully through using a flashlight and a steady hand. They couldn't see much, but they knew that there was something behind this ordinary wall. Just what sort of secret chamber had been hidden away in there? As they continued to peer through the hole, their gaze soon turned to the larger, person-sized hole. There was only one thing to do. They'd have to go in. The truth was, Cyrex 686 had no idea just what might be hiding behind these mysterious holes in the walls. What he did know was that the building he was living in was several centuries old. Once used as an industrial factory, it had seen hundreds of years go by and remained standing through various renovations and God knows how many residents and iterations. It made sense then that there would be years of ancient secrets hidden in its walls. But Cyrex 686 simply had no idea the long-forgotten piece of history he was about to uncover. It does sound a bit odd to freely start drilling a big hole in one of the walls of your home, especially one big enough for a full-size person to climb into. What on earth was Cyrex 686 thinking, you might think? Well, actually, the risk was even bigger, as Cyrex 686 admitted he didn't own his home, but was renting it from a landlord. What on earth would the landlord think about this large hole being drilled in the wall? But for Cyrex 686, it was a risk he was willing to take for the sake of uncovering the truth. Cyrex 686 uploaded various videos to YouTube documenting his investigation. As he continued to delve deeper in the secrets hidden behind the walls, more and more people started to gain interest in what he might find. After he posted his first video, he found he was getting more and more comments from astonished viewers. Some were just as intrigued as he was, but others were more cynical, warning him that it might get him in trouble with the landlord, or something even worse. But Cyrex 686 couldn't stop now, not with the truth of the mystery so tantalizingly within his grasp. Despite the various risks and possible dangers he was exposing himself to, Cyrex 686 carried on with his mission to drill through this mysterious hole in the wall and see just where it might take him. Many people would have been more cautious with this experiment, but once Cyrex 686 had started, he simply couldn't stop until he'd uncovered the truth. He drilled and drilled until finally he'd opened up the human-sized hole for himself to get through. But even he was not ready for the incredible sight that awaited him within. As he looked through the mysterious hole, Cyrex 686 was overwhelmed with complete surprise and shock, beyond anything he could have possibly imagined. When he looked through the huge hole he just created, he could see a large, empty room in complete darkness and secrecy. The dark room expanded deep into the caverns, and in the darkness, Cyrex 686 couldn't see just how far it really went, and so he decided to do the unthinkable. Feet first, without any idea where he would land, Cyrex 686 dropped himself through the hole. Of course, it wasn't just Cyrex 686 himself that was desperate to find out more about this mysterious dark room that he'd just discovered through the previously secret hidden hole in the wall. Don't forget that he had enlisted the help of his friend, who'd been filming their exploits and uploading them to YouTube. Fans across the world watched with bated breath as Cyrex 686 plunged into the pitch-black hole of darkness, wondering what on earth he might find on the other side. As viewership grew and grew on Cyrex 686 YouTube channel, and the further he delved into his thrilling experiment, more and more people began to speculate about what might be revealed behind the secrets of this hidden room. The hits on the video continued to grow, and so did the comments and varying ideas of what the hidden room would turn out to be. There were some wild theories and some more realistic ones, but many people began to wonder if this secret space had once been used for dodgy activity. And things were about to take a seriously dark turn. The world watched in awe as Cyrex 686 leapt through the hidden hole and into the dark, silent unknown. Just what would he find in its hidden walls? As the mystery and suspense grew deeper and deeper, the fans watching desperately on YouTube started coming up with wilder and increasingly dark stories. Some people speculated that the room had been used as some sort of prison or medieval torture chamber. But despite the various and wild ideas, not one had even come slightly close to the truth. One thing that particularly struck Cyrex 686 as he descended into the dark and secret room was the utter silence and stillness inside. Again, the fan theories started to get wilder and wilder, with some even speculating that the secret room had previously housed some sort of evil spirits and they'd now been released with the discovery of their lair. But for Cyrex 686, the silence was showing him something else. The utter lack of noise was clear evidence that this secret room had been sealed off from all sides. But there were more, much more disturbing discoveries to come. As Cyrex 686 explored more and more of the dank, cavernous Chamber of Secrets, he slowly discovered more and more items within that could give some clue towards what this mysterious and long-hidden secret room was built for. But it seemed that the more things he discovered, the more sinister and suspicious the motives behind the secret room seemed to be. First, Cyrex 686 found a random pipe abandoned on the floor, connected to nothing at all. But then he found a sharp hook, and it was hanging from the ceiling. But there was one more, even more mysterious discovery to come. As well as these mysterious clues and slightly sinister objects he'd found in the room, Cyrex 686 also found something very strange and unusual on the walls of the room itself. Looking up and down and all over the room, he could see that there were strange lines etched on the wall on every side. This felt like a super important clue as to the true nature of the room. But what did it mean? That's when Cyrex 686 turned to his YouTube viewers for some help in finding the truth. Cyrex 686 was starting to feel pretty frustrated and confused, and many of his fans and viewers also began to feel the same way. This mysterious, long-lost, and empty room must have been used for some reason, and why was it hidden away for so many years? There simply had to be a reason, but it was starting to feel impossible that they would ever hit upon the answer. But nonetheless, Cyrex 686 would not give up, and eventually he'd find the piece of evidence they were all waiting for. Despite Cyrex 686 and his fans' frustration at the ongoing mystery, no one was quite ready yet to give up on working out the secret truth behind the original use of this hidden room. There had to be a reason. They just had to keep thinking. Cyrex 686 thought, and the clues seemed to be coming back to the mysterious lines running down the walls. Suddenly, Cyrex 686 had a realization of what this might mean and what it said about the truth behind this secret room. Suddenly, Cyrex 686 had a brainwave regarding the mysterious lines running down all over the walls of the dark and hidden room. He realized that the only thing that could have caused the lines in this exact formation but the long-term flow of some kind of liquid running through it. Cyrex 686 and his fans were super excited. This was a huge step forward in finding out the true purpose behind the secret room. Could it have been a sewage storage facility, he wondered? In fact, the truth was something else entirely. And Cyrex 686 didn't do all of this thinking and deducing of mysteries totally on his own. He was also regularly checking up on his YouTube page, looking at any of the comments from fans and viewers that might contain helpful suggestions or tips. Thanks to the useful and helpful tips left on his video page, he worked out that it was probably an old-fashioned water cistern, a type of large tank that would have been used back in the times when the building was used as an industrial factory. So one mystery had been solved, but a deeper one remained. Cyrex 686 had finally found the answer of what this mysterious room was in its past life. But what he found out next nearly blew his mind. The fact was that when these cisterns are no longer needed, it's very common that they're simply closed off from the rest of the building, rather than the expensive and long process of removing them. This means that Cyrex 686 had actually taken far greater risks than he'd even realized. He could have opened up a massive leak of water or sewage flooding right into his home. Not only was Cyrex 686 proud of himself for finding the secret room, but his decision to upload the adventure onto YouTube meant he had scores of people from all over the world able to help him and offer helpful suggestions he might not have thought of himself. However, there was one particular opinion that kept circulating around the comments, and it was not a positive one. Despite the success of the adventure, many were still worried as to what Cyrex 686's landlord would do when he found out about his explorations. But no one could have predicted how he actually would react. Even though many of the commenters and viewers on Cyrex 686's video were pretty worried about how his landlord might react, no one could have predicted the actual response that the adventure received. Cyrex 686 later added in a comment on the video that not only had the landlord not minded about his curious excavations, but he even managed to still get a security deposit back. Like Cyrex 686, his viewers, and the rest of us, he must have been simply fascinated to discover this long-hidden mystery within his own walls. But that wasn't the end of Cyrex 686's story of finding hidden treasures. Sometime after the incredible adventure of discovering and working out the truth behind the long-lost hidden cistern, Cyrex 686 had moved out of that building and set up in a new house. However, though he had somewhat settled down, his curiosity for exploring still remained. Just like before, Cyrex 686 explored all around his house looking for any unusual marks or signs of hidden pieces of history secreted within. You wouldn't think something this amazing could happen twice, right? Well, neither did Cyrex 686 until he found a secret door. Cyrex 686 couldn't believe it. Here he was in a completely new house, and it seems that his destiny for adventure and exploration simply followed him wherever he went. He just couldn't go anywhere without accidentally uncovering long-lost secrets of the past. Any of Cyrex 686's viewers and fans would know by now that he would stop at nothing before finding out the truth behind this latest mystery. With bated breath, he finally managed to prise the door open, and what he saw brought tears to his eyes. As Cyrex 686 finally managed to prise open this mysterious secret door hidden away in the corner of his new house, the sight awaiting him on the other side was certainly not what he expected. In fact, when you realize the truth of this new secret room, you can't help but laugh. Rather than a long-lost mystery of deep and fascinating past, the door simply led to a small cupboard housing a few innocent paint cans. You have to hand it to this determined explorer. Whatever the eventual outcome, he's always ready to seek out the adventure.